Hey everyone. What's up? Oh my god, you haven't deleted me yet. You're super cool for that. So here's the thing. There seems to be a pretty strong misunderstanding going on. So for some reason, which I truly do not understand, maybe someone can explain it to me, there's the comprehension that Jewish people, one, or Israelis, want to be in this war, two, are doing this to steal land from Palestinians, and three, like, enjoy killing Palestinians. Like, what the fuck? Where did you come up with this? I am truly confused. And that this is ethnic cleansing. You can't, okay, I comprehend that obviously this is oppression. Like, obviously the lives of these people, it's like a terrible situation. No one is denying that. No. So the thing with ethnic cleansing is, guys, the Palestinian population has like grown by millions, okay? You can't have ethnic cleansing. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking to toddlers. So coming from a people who have genuinely been ethnically cleansed, I mean, everyone wants us to like get off our high horse with the Holocaust. Sorry, like that's my history. Like I literally can't. So coming from a people who was ethnically cleansed by like 6 million one time, like a bunch of millions all the other times, your population can't grow by millions and you're being ethnically cleansed. That's physically impossible over time. So historically, clearly, Israel's goal is not ethnic cleansing. Sorry, I'm just so disheartened by the state of the world. I hope you bear with me before you think I'm against you, because I promise I'm not. In fact, you're for me, and I really appreciate that. You're doing a pretty good job overall. Anyone with all your ceasefire posts, you're doing a pretty good job overall. Appreciate your prayer energy. It's definitely helpful. Maybe we can actually heal this thing. Could happen. That would be extremely beautiful. So the problem is, at some point, you decided that Israel wanted this to happen and is excited about this. So let's go back a bit to some previous history when the whole, like, this Hamas blockade first started, approximately, because they decided in their charter that their neighbor had to die. Like, in their charter, they were like, oh yeah, and by the way, like, we want to kill them. Okay, sorry, but I want to survive, so I, like, can't. Also, this is about Hamas. Like, obviously, any innocent Palestinian who's now been stuck in this, as you've called it, an open air prison. Yeah, anyone who's been stuck there, that's terrible. Nobody wants that. So anyways, at the time, the leader of Israel and the leader of Palestine in 2007 were discussing this really interesting deal, which was essentially offering Palestinians essentially like as close as they could to the 1967 boundaries, which is what everybody talks about. Let's go back to that time frame. Well, they were. Like, the one thing the Israeli leader wasn't willing to do was welcome like 60,000 Palestinian refugees. Because then, Israel's still supposed to be a Jewish state. Like, that was a lot of refugees. But they were willing to offer parts of Jerusalem, almost all of the West Bank. Like, it was a really good deal. That was not accepted, unfortunately. So then, because it was not accepted and because the Hamas terror attacks continued, it's just like, well, you've been blockaded. We don't really know what to do because your leadership is taking all their resources. I'm sorry, guys, but like, if you're writing ceasefire posts, you literally have to keep your camera on right now. You have to. I have been watching everything you're saying. I am entirely pro-Palestinian, believe it or not. So you have a moral duty to stay with me right now. I have stayed with you. You have a moral duty, regardless of if you hate me. So anyways, now we're in a situation where Israel tried to create a really good peace deal. It was not accepted. Hamas is in control. I'll put the link for the peace deal below. Hamas is in control. In their charter, they want to, like, Israel not to exist. It's all stated. They're also taking physical actions of terrorist attacks. In addition to that, a lot of their resources coming in are being used for terrorism too. So like apartments that are supposed to be for the Palestinian people are being taken over by terrorists. Like headquarters. I can post the link for that too. You know, it's just happening over and over again, where there are also social projects occurring that are good, like hospitals and all this stuff. But then Hamas is like digging all its tunnels under the hospitals for terrorism, and they're storing weapons for terrorism. Now, if you just pause and think to yourself, well, hey, like, I wonder, oh my God, like, I wonder what would have happened if Palestinian leadership wasn't terrorists. Like, if they just knock next door to Israel, they're like, hey, knock, 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 can we start again? Like, we would actually not like to destroy you. And along with all of the rest of the Arab world, we would actually like to be neighbors. Like, do you think Israel would be like, no, I want to kill you? No, we don't. We don't. In fact, I mean, the problem, we would just love to live in peace. I know it's shocking, but shalom, that's what we would love. That said, and this is important, what's happening now is still very critical. And that's why, even though I feel totally unseen, your prayers are very important. Anyone who's posting ceasefire, all of that, and holding the Palestinian people in their hearts, and is genuinely really caring about what's happening, is very helpful and important. Because these people have felt really unseen. They've been stuck, they've been trapped, I think, as I said, in large part from their own leadership and resentment, and honestly, anti-Semitism. Like, there's so much anti-Semitism rooted in this, guys. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not saying you are being anti-Semitic. I'm not. I don't think that wanting innocent lives to be saved is anti-Semitic. It's not. The issue is that when the like supreme leader of Iran posts that he is so proud of all the university students marching on campuses and that you're on the right side of history, and that, oh, and by the way, he wants to have all Zionists beheaded. He wants to behead me. And then in addition, not taking Palestinian land, like keeping the land of my indigenous people that continues to exist as it is, not taking over the West Bank, not taking more land, just simply being able to live in peace as in part of Israel, along with Palestine. That's what I mean by Zionism, because there's also, I know, some extremists and confusion. So anyways, yeah, when the supreme like leader of terrorism almost in the world is like, you're on the right side of history, congrats. Oh, and by the way, I also, sorry, I don't want to trigger certain friends who are queer, because I was trying to share this with them, but did not go over well. And then they're like, oh, also, by the way, I'm only saying this to all the groups that are not queer, because I also want to behead all the queer people. So, yo, guys, like, this is real. This is what's happening. Like, you are you need to be very careful with your energy, because your energy is super needed, and these people have been trapped. The Palestinian people have been trapped, and they need to be loved, because they feel resentment, they feel abandoned, they feel anger, they feel all kinds of things. Oh, but also, by the way, in addition to that, just something that is important to note from an Israeli perspective too, most of them, like, in terms of the economy, a lot of money comes in and there isn't a whole lot of work going on. So like, they just haven't been able to actualize either. They're kind of taken care of in certain ways. They're like trapped and oppressed, but also taken care of and like hanging out on the beach. Like, they just haven't been able to actualize, obviously. So if you're watching this and you're just like, seriously, like, please listen to me. If you're watching this and like, it's super easy to feel good about yourself because this is selective outrage, that's the term for it. It's like when something is going on in the world and your Jewish friend might see it, and they have relatives in Israel, and their relative might actually even be a soldier who was killed. Like, it's a lot, or a hostage, you know? It's a lot easier to get super involved in something when you don't know any history about it. You're not looking at all the other shit going on in the world. You're selectively outraged about this. And honestly, you might want to self-check on that a little bit. It's really easy just to post a bunch of stuff on Facebook that's real. But you might want to self-check first on that. But in addition to that, when you're posting and you're doing this engagement, it's really critically important, guys, that you're also making an effort to look at the real Jewish lens and the real Jewish perspective. Because now what you're doing is putting Israel into this box of like literally being compared to the Nazis. And like, I could sit here for hours to explain to you why that is not accurate. The Nazis had, I'll just say it in one sentence, the Nazis had the intention to destroy the Jewish people. You know who else has that intention? A lot of Arab nations. Okay? So you need to understand that this is legitimately rooted in terrorism, okay? And the current actions you're seeing are very warlike, and they're very anciently warlike, and that's why it's easy to be like, look at all this horrible shit. But that's because they're using ancient warfare tactics. Like, they're stealing our people and raping them as sex slaves and posting videos about it and pictures. Like, it's awful. So yeah, so they have acted upon this in a, I hope any of this gets through. I really hope like a smidgen gets through. But yes, they have acted upon us in a tribal, warlike, ancient way. And to some degree, that is how Israel is responding. And I'm not saying it's okay. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's okay that all these innocent Palestinians are dying or that they're trapped. That's not what anybody wants. That's not what any Israeli person wants. Except maybe there's a couple of really extreme or right-wing Jews who feel that way. And I think Netanyahu himself is a little bit on the extreme too, obviously, like a lot on the extreme. But you have to remember that they're dealing with extreme people. So congratulations, the leader of Iran loves your energy. You're doing a great job, but also I love your energy. The only thing that I ask you to change is to try to understand the Jewish lens too. Really try to look critically at what's happening and to really deeply try to find it in your heart to want peace and harmony for both peoples. If you are stuck in total anti-Israel energy, we will never find peace. Because that for us goes, whoop, anti-Semitism. Even though I know that most of you are not anti-Semitic. Like, you're not like deleting me because I'm Jewish. Like, you're not, I'm not sitting here thinking you're all super anti-Semitic. I know what anti-Semitism is. Like, a bunch of my relatives died because of it. And oh, there's so much more I could say. Actually, I am going to say more. Let me just say a little bit more. So this, and if this is too much for you, too bad. This is your responsibility. I've been in part of this conflict the entire time, watching all of the news, all of the detainee camps being compared to the Holocaust, all of the dead children, all of the women, all of the bombing, all of the hospitals, every single thing I'm watching, and I'm watching it from both lenses, over and over again. I'm trying to see what's true about this, what's not true about this. How could this have been different? What's going on with the aid for real? Like, I'm watching it. I care. And what hurts me the most and really makes me so sad is you guys seem to think I don't. You don't seem I care, but I seem to think I care. But here's the thing. I don't think you care. Because I don't see anybody posting about the hostages. And if you guys wanted that ceasefire to end, or the women being raped right now, if you wanted that ceasefire to truly end, you should be really criticizing Hamas as well, because they are horrible for their people. In addition to that, and I know you've heard that over and over again, I don't know why it doesn't get through. Oh yeah. I guess the very last thing that Universe had downloaded to me today, because yeah, I really talk to Spirit every day. It's beautiful. My relationship with Spirit is fucking beautiful. I highly recommend trying it. Yeah, the last thing I was going to say, which is really fascinating about all this, is that the actual answer, like the actual cure, is if the Arab peoples could accept Israel and Jews as kind of like a cousin. If they were like, all right, like technically we're half brothers. According to the Bible, we're half brothers. So if they could just accept us as like another tribe of the region who's their cousin, and if instead of wanting to destroy us, I'm sorry, I'm talking in very vague terms. Like, this doesn't apply to every Arab person whatsoever. And I mean, obviously not. I'm talking in vague terms. And then in addition to that, if Israelis could and Palestinians could decide to be like cousins too, like, that would be beautiful. Let's all turn back to love.